Hi, I'm Tandy Gutierrez and welcome to your monthly tarot reading for January 2018. So it is a whole new year and the reading for January can really set the tone, not just for the month, but for the year. And it's an exciting one. It's already got this very effervescent, very champagne bubble feeling to it. So I'll be anxious and excited to see what comes out in the cards for you all this month, okay? So remember that it is a general reading. Not everything's gonna resonate and be absolutely true for everybody. However, if you're here and listening, there is some messaging in it for you. So just when you hear the things that are for you and your little body perks up and it starts to tingle and you go, yes, that's the sign, symbol, or omen for you. That's the white rabbit to follow, the thing that means something to you. Your intuition is always best and most powerful, and everything we aim to seek through the cards is about self-awareness and self-evolution and self-understanding, and it always strives at the greater good of all involved. So we have choice, we have fate and free will, we get to make decisions, and it's never about predicting anything. It's about understanding how to navigate and work with and balance the energies at play, the lessons at play, and to do the very best we can. Okay, so here we go. January 2018. These are beautiful. So it's a 7-card spread, like I always do. I will show them to you as we go. It's beautiful already. These are beautiful cards for this month. Like really, really cool. Okay. That's really great. All right, here we go. So the overall energy of this month, and like I said, January does really set the theme for the year to come. It's like we have multiple New Years because there's like the kind of spiritual astrological new year and then you have like, this is New Year's, it's January, it's a 1, it's fresh starts and new beginnings. And even if you're not into making resolutions, because we all know we can do that at any point in the year, it's just that beautiful feeling of freshness, right? All of the craziness of any of the holidays that you celebrate, or all of them if there's multiples in your home, January has this like clean slate feeling to it. And so the overall energy of this month for us, and also showing for the year as the overall view, it's the sun. So I'm using the Fountain Tarot deck. I just love this deck, and I go through phases and stages, and they kind of speak to me of what I'm supposed to be using when. So the sun is just, it's about just stepping into our true place, into the sun. It's warm, it's inviting, it's bright, there's sunlight on us and on you. Things get lit up again. I know that it was this feeling of a lot of darkness through the entire last year. And strangely enough, even though in winter and the winter solstice, like we're having this feeling of coming around, right? And so the winter solstice and Yule is about inviting and welcoming in the light again. It's very true for this year and for this month. So the sun is also the card of Leo, like in astrology. So, and you go, well, what does that have to do if I'm not a Leo or I'm not a Leo rising? The energy of Leo is your heart's path of deep, 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 deep love. I mean, Leos love like nobody's business. They're like having little kittens that want to like cling and climb and play and like be in your business, right? So the sun energy is like, it's growth, right? It's abundance. It's shining true light on it. It's a lot of things out in the open. It's not hidden anymore. It's not secretive. It's not brewing. It's time to shine. And so that Leo energy is about being on your heart's path and about doing the things that you really love to do, that you're very passionate about, that bring you energy because you're pushing good energy out into the world because of it. Leo, the North Node has moved into Leo as of last year, right? It shifted. So this is where, as a collective, we're all going. And it also pushes us that if you're not doing the things you love, that you're very passionate about, that are your talents and your callings, that you're going the wrong direction. And that even if it seems completely nonsensical to head that direction, somehow in some capacity, even in the smallest capacity, if you don't, then things are going to be really hard for the rest of the year. That's just truth. Like, now is the time where all the lights are going on for everybody, that when you are passionate about a soul path, a mission, so to speak, that you have to start walking that direction. And if you don't, it's not going to go well. So you have to listen to those small voices. You have to listen to your heart. You have to let your heart override some of the intellect and the intelligence of things, because it's time to shine. It's time to step out into the light. It's time to be a teacher. It's time to play. It's time to explore play, right? Like, because the things that we love, when you get into creative flow, it's not hard. It feels like play. It's like, athletes will talk about it, artists will talk about it, like you get into the flow and like you have no idea how long you've been doing something because time goes away. So in January and this year, the overall tone is like, find the things where time goes away, because that's where your true purpose and your true love is, and where you can do the greatest amount of good, right? The goal is always, how can I help? How can I expand? How can I teach? How can I love? And these are all Leo qualities, right? Like, at their best, they are lovers, they are loyal, they are protective, they're fierce, but they're also like super snuggly, like when you get in there with them. So it's a beautiful tone for this month and for the year. What to leave behind in this month. This is interesting. 2 of Cups, okay? 2 of Cups is something that I usually love, and I look at it as the partner's card. Cups are about your emotions, essentially, and your faith, okay? So the only true emotion is love, right? And faith of any kind. If, in the divine spirit, in God, in your higher self, your guides, your guardian angels, whatever translation you use to navigate your relationship with divine spirit, it's a relationship with love, okay, energetically. And it's saying to leave behind, I think, this aspirational love and this aspirational, like, everything's so magical partnership of like, everything's so ethereal. And okay, yeah, they're funny today. So the ethereal partnership of like, leave behind that a divine, spiritual relationship is always magic. I talk a lot about magic, right? That's just the word that I use to describe the good stuff. But there's this idea that a spiritual relationship, a spiritual practice, a spiritual, existence is always so ethereal and so floaty and so intuitive and so breezy and cosmic. Yes, it is that at times, and it's magical, right? But you have to leave behind this idea that that's all it is, because it's not. We live in a 3D world, physical. You gotta work, you gotta do the doing, and you have to strive for it. So it's not that it's all work, no play, and all work, no magic, and if you just work really hard, that everything will just happen. Untrue. If you work really hard at the things that you love, that you know to be your path and your passion, right? You will hear people talk about their callings. That's real. I've had one as well, where you go, shit, that's not what I wanted to do. And you go, but that's what I'm being called to do. And so it's about, you have to put the effort and the work into the things that you know need to come to fruition, that are for the greatest good of all involved, including yourself, right? So it's this is funny. This is this idea of leaving behind that it's all so pretty and so woo-woo and so magical, because you can't just sit around and meditate all day long. I would like to, but you can't. You gotta do, right? You gotta make a plan. You have to bring it to fruition, and it's just time to leave behind this idea that you just make wishes and they drop into your lap. You make wishes, then you make plans on how to get there. You ask for help, you put it out there, and you got to do the doing, okay? So that's funny. Sometimes they're funny. That's really funny. Then what to learn in this month? Knight of Wands. Okay, so wands are about your bravery and your courageousness. They represent the fire, of the elements. Knight of Wands is somebody who's still learning. And what to learn in this card is like, don't be, this is funny. It's telling you not to be so different, which usually my call is like, be your unique self, like be you, don't try to be anybody else. But it's also calling you, don't make things complicated. Don't be weird for the sake of being weird. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't try to be different, because it just puts this extra pressure on your back. Like, then it just is like this weird standout. Like, in order to be of service and of use to yourself and to the world, it has to be genuine, it has to be connected, and it has to be real. If you are pretending or trying to be someone else, it ain't gonna work. So it's telling you that this month is the month to learn how to be yourself, right? And people will tell you that's the hardest thing to be, because you're afraid people will judge it, and if they really see me, and what do I really like, and what do I really like to wear, and how do I really want my hair, and do I care about makeup? I mean, you know, male or female. Do I actually like to wear women's clothes and I'm a man? Do I actually like to never put a dress on and I'm female? Who cares, right? This is also a call of learning this genderless way of navigating. We're in this crossover stage. We all have masculine and feminine energy. Masculine and feminine energy has nothing to do with gender. Nothing. And we all need to find a better balance in it. And I think that throws us for a loop. We feel certain ways, but then we think we're supposed to be other ways. Like, we got to get rid of either being eccentric for the sake of it to draw attention, or because we're trying too hard, or, you know, we've really just got to move forward. Quit making things complicated. Just, we're souls, we're not skin. I don't know why that's the message with that card, but it is. It's like, you got to start looking at the insides of yourself and of people. What's the underlying message? I think this month you all should really practice intuitive listening. And it's not, I swear to goodness, this is not about making things up, and it's not about pretending somebody said something else. But if you're having a conversation with somebody and you're only listening to the words, right? We feel like that's what makes us good listeners, right? We are listening to what they say. I want you to listen at a gut instinctive level. What does it feel like, regardless of what they're saying? Life will get real interesting with that one. You know, you can start to tune into people and go, I just call bullshit. I don't know why. And sometimes you call it and people go, but I'm not. They don't even know it yet. But if you can get in there at the undercurrent level, you'll be able to make decisions better and faster that support you and the greatest good of all involved. Like, is it somebody that I want to have a business partnership with? They seem awesome. What does your gut tell you? Listen with your intuition, not necessarily their words. And then whatever that vibe and that energy is, you can just turn it like good, bad. Does it feel good when I listen to them, or does it feel bad? If it's bad, graciously move on. So learning this month has a lot to do with learning to really be yourself, not making it complicated, not trying to be somebody else, and also learning how to navigate in this genderless way. I shouldn't do this because I am male. I shouldn't do this because I'm female. I've outgrown doing this because I'm either one. You know, the paradigms, they're cracked. They're done. And we just need to know how to balance ourselves. So look at it, it's even like a wonky picture of like this imbalance, but it sort of looks hip to be imbalanced. And it's like, oh, just ditch it. Just be real and get really grounded and earthy, whatever that looks like for you. Okay. What to receive. Okay, so this is fascinating. We've got half of these cards like major arcana. So major arcana are major shifts in your life. And when it's a general reading, I feel like for the collective of the group that I'm reading for, like there's some big things happening. But this reading also has to do with the full year. So of course it's going to be a little bit big. What to receive this month is the Chariot. I love the Chariot. Okay, so the Chariot is a 7. 7 is what I call the self-help number. You reap what you sow, right? What you've put effort into, if it's in, you know, that Leo heart-centric way, things you just really love, even though you may sound crazy to people, then things start to come through for you. And Chariot is often about either carrying yourself through, like there's a little bit of momentum happening, like your chariot's on its way and you've done the work, so you get to kind of zip forward a little bit. It's a bit of a leveling up, like a progression. You know, it's like a little bit of a fast forward. It's like something comes along and goes, it looks like a video game to me, you know, where you like hit like a power boost, where you like jump into this pod and it goes zzz, and it doesn't last like for the entire game, right? It just lasts for this little period where you get like this little bit of quickening. So it can be opportunities that are coming for you. It can be projects that you've been working on, or relationships that like something was being talked about forever ago that finally comes through. It can just feel like there are yeses, right? So I keep coming back to this because I feel like collectively everybody had a lot of no's last year, like no, but they weren't really no's. They were not yet, it's not time, not yet. Well, January we're gonna get some of the yeses. Not all of them, we got a whole year to go through, but it's showing that you're gonna have these quickening pieces this year because of the heart-centered effort you've put towards things. Be clear that work and busyness is not heart-centered work. Now, heart-centered work can be a lot of work and doing. It's not that it's like, oh, it wasn't that I just laid around and dreamed about it. Like, you gotta get some stuff done. You gotta bring some things into fruition this year. If and when you do, there will be these little quickening opportunities that kind of jump you along your path. That's awesome. Assets to the situation. The Emperor. So again, this reading is like super cool and super powerful. So it's another major arcana. The Emperor is the dad. It's very Saturn. So Saturn in astrology, like, you do not pass go until you learn these lessons. And it will, you know, it's like training the puppy. No, you go back to that spot. You go back to the puppy pet. Nope, you go back to the puppy pet and you got your nose swatted. You know, like that kind of thing. So the assets to this month and this year is that you've built things in good structure and put them in good placement. Now, that this card in this deck in particular to me represents two things. Masculine energy, right? That fire, like it's a little it's a little militaristic. Like, it's a little aggressive of like, I'm going to build this. I'm going to put it in place. So it can be energetic structures because of the geometrics on this card. It can be energetic work that you've done. Like, you've put the internal energetic structure into place and now it's gonna like hang there, right? Or in this deck, this card also very much says that there are assets in the internet, like in the interwebs, right? Like the mysterious thing in the planet, that there's ways to get connected, there's ways to get solid, there's ways to grow, and there's ways to use what's available to us for free, is what I'm getting. Does that make sense? That the name of the game is always balance and lesson learning in life and collecting all the pieces that you currently have that you don't have to pay for. That's coming up a lot for one reason or another. Like, look at the puzzle pieces you have, even if they're from different puzzles and they don't look like they go together. What can you make out of the pieces you have right now? Because that will progress you forward, even if it doesn't get you to end game. And so the assets of this month and for the year, 4 is about diligence and perseverance. It's about like planting for the long haul. It's about having longevity. So it is totally the tortoise and the hare. Like, it is slow going, but guess who wins? Okay. So there's a whole lot of assets to the situation. It's very diligent. Well, that would make sense because of the whole Saturn moving into Capricorn. Okay, so those are your assets. That transition of Saturn, you know, that was a big one. And it went into Capricorn's the doer. Well, that was super clear. Why didn't I get there first? That it puts structures in place. It's very, you know, dad-like and very male CEO-like, of like, this is the pattern that we do it. And then we go work at these little steps to get to that point. Like, we do the doing, and there's got to be some fire and some effort behind it. So the assets are just that Saturn moved in the cosmos. Thank you, Saturn. Obstacles. Fascinating obstacle. 5, the Hierophant. Okay, so the Hierophant is always like, you know, structured religion, government, you know, structures, like corporations, big structures, okay? So the Hierophant is always a little call to be aware, be your own thinker, get anchored in you, not what everybody else is doing. Hierophant can very much be the following the masses in the herd that's being led to slaughter kind of thing. Hierophant is also Taurus card. Taurus is the teacher, says the Taurus sun. You know, it's the teacher. It's also very physical. It's earthly, and it's the earthly plane. It's about tending to your body, tending to your foods, and tending to your rest. And so the obstacles could be wanting to follow the herd because it looks like everybody's going that direction, when you really need to just keep your eyes on you, keep your eyes on your own paper, be diligent in yourself, and tend to your body temple with ultimate respect, like ultimate respect. So most of you all that are here watching these are already members of mattinkitchen.com, but if you're not already and you want to train with me and you want to work out with me during the week, you know, this is the call to be diligent and practiced and to repeat and to do the basics, because it keeps your brain fresh. It keeps your heart and your intellect and your intuition savvy to not follow the masses of things. It's really, and this deck is so pretty too, it's about looking in the magic box. The magic box is yourself. It's your relationship with divine spirit and your intuition and your guidance and guides and guardian angels. It's all within you. But if you get disconnected from it and you start to disconnect from your physical body, then you got, so that's the obstacle this month and this year. This, you know, January is always the, I'm making a resolution, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to get healthy. This is giving you an extra little push that you need to be fit and healthy in your physical body. But you're also going to need to tend to the magic box, that meditation time, time with your cards and these readings, that you're going to have to cultivate your own integrity, right? And not follow the herd. 5 is also a change. So the Hierophant card is usually a call that your teacher shows up, right? When the student is ready, the teacher appears. So it's very much into that spectrum of things also. And the ultimate outcome of this month and this year. I love this card, Knight of Coins. If you have not read The Alchemist yet, go read it. It is a book near and dear to my heart and my family. And this card always it reminds me of The Alchemist. There's that pyramid in the background. And without, you know, being a spoiler if you haven't read it, you know, but you wouldn't have seen the pyramids. So sometimes, right, it's about the journey, not the destination. But this card is a hearkening to abundance, to starting to cultivate abundance. He's not the king, right? And he's not the queen yet. He's still practicing and learning how to turn things into actual coins in the world. But it's definitely a showing that he's getting better at it and that things progress in that space. Abundance doesn't have to be just financial, okay? But this one is pushing at the financial stuff. It's also about your health and your wellness and your love and opportunities in the world, and that vibration of sunshine and goodness, right? And so the Knight of Coins starts to figure out how to bring coins out of his pocket, right? And then once he's got one, he starts to go, oh, I can see how I could turn this into 2. And it brings, you know, this moment of contemplation without it being like super, it's not materialistic. But again, he's not the queen and he's not the king. So he's not the king that just understands how to make piles and piles of it and is sitting on his coffers. But it also is hearkening to everything you need is at home. And you go, huh? What does that mean? But it's a call back to what I said. It's look at the pieces that you have, and think about what you're striving for this month and this year, and try to put all the weird pieces on the table. Like it's like making the coolest sculpture ever in your life, right? What are the pieces that I have that I don't have to pay for? What can my friends help me with? What can I borrow? And what do I have? And what are the free resources out there? And it's how do I arrange and use all of those things right now? Later, I may need other things, but what do I have to work with right now? Because divine spirit will put things in your path, will give you things, but you also sometimes have to work with what you've got in order to get to that opportunity for things to show up. So I hope that made sense. It's a very exciting month. Like super exciting, really abundant, very clear. Be diligent, take care of yourself, get honest, and sunshine and good days are coming. So thank you so very much for being here for this reading. If you're ever interested in booking a private one-on-one reading with me, you can head over to tandygutierrez.com and just click on private sessions there. If you're interested in training with me on the mat in the Pilates-based workouts, they're 30-minute workouts, they're brand new every 3 days, and being a part of that community, mattinkitchen.com, and you just subscribe to be a member there. If neither one of those things is on the radar right now, you can always sign up to get my newsletter over at tandygutierrez.com. So thank you, and I can't wait to hear how some of this is going to play out for you all this month and this year. I'll see you next time.